الآن معنا من تل أبيب مردخاي كيدار من قسم الدراسات العربية في جامعة بار إيلان. سيد مردخاي، هذا القرار هل هو دق مزيد من الأسافين في نعش المفاوضات الفلسطينية الإسرائيلية؟
أنا حقيقة لا أفهم هذا الكلام. هل على إسرائيل أن تبحث عن إذن من أين في العالم؟ هذه عاصمتنا منذ 3000 عام، وكنا هناك عندما كان آباؤكم يشربون الخمر ويئدون البنات ويعبدون العزى واللات والمنات، فلماذا علينا أن نتكلم عن هذا الشيء؟ هذه هي مدينتنا من 3000 عام وإلى أبد الآبدين.
يا أخي إذا كنت تريد عفوا سيد مردخاي، عفوا إذا كنت تريد أن تتحدث عن التاريخ أيضا نحن نتحدث عن القرآن. لا يمكن لك أن تلغي القدس من القرآن. أرجوك أن تبتعد عن الألفاظ التي تسيء للعرب والمسلمين رجاء لنبقى في موضوعنا لو سمحت. الآن هذا القرار ألا يتعارض؟
لم يرد ذكر القدس في القرآن.
سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده.
ذكر القدس لم يرد في القرآن. طيب ولو مرة واحدة.
يا سيدي لنتحدث بالسياسة. عفوا لنتحدث بالسياسة.
الجزيرة
لنتحدث بالسياسة لو سمحت.
أوكي. القدس خارج المفاوضات. القدس لليهود نقطة. لا يمكن الكلام عن القدس بأي شكل من الأشكال، وأنتم تعيدون هذه القضية مرة بتلو الأخرى.
عن المستوطنات يا سيد مردخاي، المستوطنات يعني
نحن نتكلم عن شقق.
Welcome to another episode of the Soothing Semantics podcast. I'm your host, Rafi Pinsky. Make sure to subscribe, smash the like button, leave your comments. And as always, for your real estate needs in South Florida, make sure to follow me at Rafi the Realtor and check out my weekly newsletter by going to the link in bio. You can also reach out to me and I'd be happy to send you the information. Without further ado, we have the prestigious, well-studied, knowledgeable, fearless Dr. Mordechai Kedar on the podcast for the second round. I welcome you, sir. Thank you for joining me.
It's a pleasure, Rafi, to be here with you.
Thank you. So, Dr. Kedar is a historian. He has a doctorate, a PhD at Bar Ilan University. He's taught for many, many years. Served for 25 years in the Israeli military. He was a lieutenant colonel, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. And he is fluent in Arabic, knows the Quran Baal Peh, as they say, pretty much by heart. I mean, you know it like the back of your hand. You've had debates with Arabs on Al Jazeera and other news sites. I've seen very fiery debates with them. They had really no response to you. They really tried their best to put you in their place, and they were very unsuccessful. So thank you for joining me. And I'd like to start off with all of the craziness since October 7th. Now that we're in a situation where ultimately Israel is made the decision to take control of at least 75% of Gaza. I don't even know what that means. I think it's either all or nothing. We're getting incredible amounts of condemnation from the international community. Are you for or against the complete control, the complete taking of Gaza at this point? Do you think it's something we need to do?
This question has always two sides. On one side, Israel not only wants but needs to get rid of Hamas as a ruling power, to get all its weapons.
Is it possible to make the volume a little louder? Do you have the option?
I can speak.
Okay.
But I don't know, because I use my phone. I'm speaking from my phone. definitely Israel has to take control over Gaza in order to make sure that October 7th will not repeat itself anymore even in the far future. The problem is the hostages. Hamas hold to 58 altogether hostages. Some 20 something are alive, the rest are not. And don't forget that they can murder the hostages who are alive at any given moment. And this is why our steps have to be very careful not to push Hamas to murder them, as they did already to 6 of them, clearly, when they saw that we are taking over some tunnels when they were hiding. So they actually shot the 6 hostages dead, right in the head. And we know it because we have the bodies and we check them. So it is some kind of Israel here is between the rock and the hard place. On one side, we know that we need to defeat them and to rid the world from them. Yet, we do want our hostages alive. That's why you always have these two conflicting purposes of the war, because everybody understands that if you want the people alive back in Israel, you must give them the ability to decide. Means to give them some threshold of decision.
Okay. You're saying to give Hamas some sort of decision?
Yes, otherwise they might kill the people, kill the
Okay.
hostages. So
But do you
how can you achieve the goal of getting rid of them altogether as long as they hold the people? So they hold those hostages as some kind of insurance policy that nobody really gets rid of them in the strip.
okay, so clearly this is Hamas's best bargaining chip. It allows them to have some sort of skin in the game, ability to push back. Otherwise, they wouldn't have any sort of chance. It wouldn't have lasted a year and a half at
Right,
this point. So,
right.
so why do you think it took this long for Israel to state clearly that they were taking full control? Do you think Israel exhausted its options? They were trying other methods? Do you think this was the plan all along? Why has it taken so long to accomplish the goal that Israel has been trying to accomplish?
First of all, as long as Biden and his administration were in the states until January of this year, means like year and 3 months, we had to fight in Gaza when the Biden administration are on our back, ties our hands behind the back, plays with ammunition, and threatens time and again to leave Israel to the mercy of the world on the international arena. So for a year and few months, Israel could not really do something decisive against Hamas. This is one thing. Now we are with Trump, who definitely gave us a free check, an open check, to get rid of all the Gazans, and also to maintain the highest pressure on Hamas to release the hostages and to maybe even to run away from Gaza. Yet they understand that now Israel is under the contradiction between the willing to release all the hostages and the willing to get rid of Hamas.
Do you think we're going to have an opportunity to take over and put ourselves in a predicament where most of the Gazans will leave? Do you think they'll willingly leave? The problem is even if they do willingly leave, where are they going to go? I think that's going to be the best option. I just don't know. Are you doubtful that that'll happen? What do you think will be the outcome?
First of all, if they have the choice whether to leave or not, 98% of the Gazans will leave. The two
Mhm.
other percent are the Hamas people who might choose to remain in order to continue to control the place.
You
This
think
is
so? You think 98%? You think all of the Gazans will leave aside from Hamas? You don't think, I
in
mean,
no
you could
time.
argue that.
In no time. Nobody really wants to live in the streets of something which once was a town or city. They are really living such a miserable life over there, and really nobody wants to stay there. If they had the opportunity and the possibility to leave, they would do it immediately.
Okay, so what's holding it back? Do you think countries are purposely not letting them in because they want this to continue? They don't want Israel to
Yes,
effectively win?
Egypt. First of all, Egypt doesn't open the gates um, for them to move to Egypt. Yet Egypt should not, according to the Egyptians, Egypt cannot be the destination. And if there is another destination, so maybe the Egyptians will allow them to go through Egypt to another destination. But Egypt doesn't want them because Egypt has its own jihadists, which have to be dealt with. So really, Egypt doesn't need another group of jihadists coming from Gaza. This is one thing. The second is that we have to find for them as a destination. I think that the best one and the most, I would say, appropriate one is Qatar. And Qatar, as you know, was the country behind them, country which sponsored them, country which supported them politically and in the media. And Qatar, as you know, hosted the Universal Games of soccer 2 years ago, the
Mhm.
World Cup, and therefore they built and now they have thousands of units which they can host the people from Gaza. And these units, living units, are empty today. So definitely they can go to Gaza, to Qatar, and to settle in those buildings which were built for the World Cup games. So this is the most, I would say, the right thing to do, because the Hamas, Qatar is very much responsible for what happened in Gaza. So let them have the brethren from Gaza.
Right, but the thing is how will we get them to do that if they're not willing to?
With their hand behind the back.
Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think Trump will do that? Because I mean, how are we
If,
going to force them to do it?
first of all, it's not so easy because they have bought many people in the administration um, by the money. They are buying people, they are buying politicians, they are buying media people, they are buying academic institutions. And look, Witkoff owes them over $600 million because they saved him from bankruptcy. And just like Witkoff, I'm afraid that there are more people who are bought by Qatar, and this might be the reason why people are not maintaining pressure on Qatar, because if Qatar would maintain pressure on Hamas, maybe the war would be finished with the end of Hamas. Yet, since Qatar doesn't want to do it, it is not easy at all to convince Qatar or coerce Qatar to go on this direction. And now comes the question: if the world is brave enough to tell Qatar, "Hey, guys, You created this problem named Hamas. You better solve it. Otherwise, and the question is, what would be the otherwise? So Qatar really knows or understands a credible threat, just like the Iranians. Once you try to threaten them, they don't mind. Only credible threat means that they are afraid that your threat will be fulfilled. Only then they move and do something which you want.
Mhm. So what about Indonesia? What about other countries? Why does it have to be Qatar? What about other countries that haven't don't have
Uh,
this?
Look, they could be the Gazans could be moved to some empty island in the Pacific, just like Vanuatu. Okay, there is a state named Vanuatu, which is built on an island in the Pacific Ocean or in the Indian Ocean. There are enough islands.
Bless you.
There are enough islands which they could be moved to.
Okay, I have an interesting question. I'm playing devil's advocate right now. What do you say to the people listening to this that go, "Oh, the Gazans should leave? Why don't the Israelis leave? Should the Gazans leave? It's their land." What would you say to that?
First of all, many who live in Gaza were moved to Gaza by the Egyptians.
Mhm.
There is a big family, for example, named Durmush. They are
Who is
Libyans.
that,
They
by
are
the
from
way?
Libya.
Dr. Kedar, this Lebanese Christian guy I know, he said there was a group of Arabs from, I think, the Sinai Peninsula or Egypt, and he said they used to carry sticks around. He didn't have a name for them. He said they were kind of known by the Egyptians for being pretty wild people. Does that ring any kind of bell to you? Do you know what he's talking about?
Look, Gaza was, I would say, the waste bin of the Egyptians for 19 years when Egypt controlled Gaza, between
Mm,
1948 and 1967. Whenever they had a family or a clan in Sinai, which they didn't like, who didn't cooperate or made problems, they would take them all on trucks and move them, all of them, to Gaza. And it happened to some
interesting.
clans. And so to say that they are indigenous to that land doesn't go along with their own history. Second thing, look at their names. Many
Right.
of them in Gaza carry names like Masri. Masri means the Egyptian, or Hijazi. Hijazi means somebody from Saudi Arabia, on the western
Hmm.
part of Saudi Arabia. Uh, Halabi from Aleppo,
Syrian.
Syria from Aleppo. Al Horani from the Horan in Syria as well. Sorani from Tyre, Sor in Lebanon. So their names actually testify that they are not originally from Gaza, from what they call Palestine. Anyway, so yeah, we have to show this reality and to work according to this reality. Yet, unfortunately, there are too many coward Israelis, including in the government, who are afraid to do the right thing.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So I fully agree with what you're saying. I'm just wondering what your prediction is now that now that the IDF has five brigades in Gaza, I mean, or five battalion. What did they say? Five battalions. Very different. I mean, brigades would mean a lot more soldiers. I imagine I would assume it's brigades, but what I just really wonder what's going to happen. I mean, how long is it going to take for Israel? I don't expect you to know this. You're not a mind reader. I mean, you can't predict the future necessarily, but you've been on this earth a little longer than I have, and you're quite knowledgeable. You've been in the army for 25 years. I was in the army a lot less than you were. how do you think this plays out? I know how you want it to, and I agree with you in terms of how I want it to play out, but how do you think it will? What do you feel will end up happening?
Look, what happens is that Israel um, threatens to invade Gaza with 5 divisions.
Mhm.
It's big power, and maybe to destroy Gaza entirely. And this is the threat on Hamas. You don't release the people, we are going to destroy Gaza or the rest of the Gaza. And so it's like a play who will blink first. So is Israel threatening to invade Gaza and to destroy whatever was remained there? Or will Hamas release the hostages? What will be first? So, and we already understand that only the army pressure, which is maintained on Hamas, this is the only way how to convince Hamas to get rid of the hostages.
To return them, you mean? Yeah, you said get rid of them. I know what you mean, though. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Do you think do you think that will play out in the near future? Do you think we'll get the hostages back in the next few months? What do you think will happen?
I think that the final decision will be within days, not within months.
Really? What makes you think that?
The first of all, um, don't forget that the army is reservists. Some of them are serving in reserve army for who knows how long, year and a half. And these people have families, have businesses, and they cannot be, in the army for the rest of their life.
Right.
So Israel has to come to an end because the willingness of those soldiers to go and serve and fight is not unlimited.
Right.
So if Israel wants to keep them, fighting, they need to see the line of how long we are going to be here. And we are willing to do it. But they want to know what will be the end game of the whole thing. Is one thing. Second thing, the world. As you know, the global support to Israel, which was overwhelming right after the massacre of October 7th, now became almost totally diminished. So we know that this resource is also on its way to be exhausted. So we have to start with finishing the war. Yes, this is what happens.
Okay. And you think in the coming days we're gonna hear something about the hostages or something about the war efforts?
I hope.
Okay. Okay. My guess. I think this war might take another 6 months until there's any kind of decisive victory. Uh, but I think effectively Israel needs to control the whole. I do think, fortunately or unfortunately, the more likely we are to be able to send the Gazans somewhere else, the simpler it'll be to proclaim an objective victory. Because the more people we have in there, the higher the likelihood Hamas can keep recruiting people. If there's no one there, then there's no one for Hamas to recruit. So as long as there are fighting age males, Hamas can keep recruiting people.
You're definitely right. But we have to try to find some kind of solution which will, on one side, will release the hostages, but on the other side, will not enable Hamas to stay in Gaza and to control Gaza in the future. So these
And but
two
do you,
goals should be together. And while we know that one contradicts the other.
right. And if we get Hamas to unilaterally surrender, what happens then? I mean, how do we know there won't be another group that just replaces it and does the same thing? How do we ensure that that doesn't happen?
Well, we have to remain in the area for
Mhm.
at least 10 years in order to make sure that the processes of education and other things go in the right path and not in the wrong one. And there are many wrong ones.
Right. Uh-huh. So you don't necessarily you're not interested in taking over the whole thing. You don't believe that Israel should just have full control over it permanently, indefinitely?
Look, this is a political question whether to annex Gaza and, let's say, and settle it after all the Gazans leave. If they all leave and find a better place, so definitely the strip can be populated by Israelis if we really want.
Oh, for
Uh,
sure, yes, yeah. But
but
what
the
if they
condition
aren't?
is that they do it. Now, don't forget that President Trump wants Gaza in order to build there a harbor which will serve the corridor between India and Europe.
India?
Yeah, there is a plan to establish a corridor between India and Europe through the sea to the Emirates from Mumbai, and then on the ground from the Emirates through Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Israel, and then to continue to Europe through the sea. And they need a harbor in order to send the goods from
Mhm.
this corridor to Europe. So President Trump wants Gaza. It has 40 kilometers long of a seashore, and this can be a very big, uh, very big harbor for the ships. And this is what he plans to turn Gaza into a heaven of business, just like he did in the Emirates. So why not?
Mm,
That's his vision.
gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm just on the edge of my seat, wondering what's going to happen. Just speculating, constantly watching the news, wondering how this is going to play out. Uh, so I guess all we can do is wait and see. That's all we can do, really,
Yes, unless you are involved in it.
unless I'm involved in it.
Those who are not involved have to wait and see.
You're 100% right. I mean, I try to be involved by having a voice and hoping that maybe somebody that has any kind of ability to make change will actually listen. I know maybe it's a far-fetched idea, but I've been doing this for quite a few years, and maybe something I say goes somewhere, I mean, what can I do? I can only try.
Wish you good luck.
Okay. So, Dr. Kedar, is there anything else you wanted to cover?
I think the future of the Judea and Samaria should be also dealt with because
That's a good talking point. That's a
I don't
very
know
good
if
talking.
you know, but the Palestinian Authority is about to collapse because they are totally illegitimate. Nobody wants them,
Mhm.
and they are totally corrupt. And 32 years after they were established, people are really talking about getting rid of the PLO and establishing Palestinian state. So this is the story, and this is what I think in the really near future, in the foreseeable future, we will be happy to announce that the PA doesn't function anymore, and local governments will emerge in each and every city separately.
Aha, okay. So you're saying the West Bank will have its own little local government in each city, like a clan, so to speak.
Right, based on the local clans in the cities, while Israel will
That's
remain
what I think
forever.
is since I heard you say that years ago, that's what I've been opting for. I think that's the best option. So, do you Israel would it be the best for Israel to fully control the West Bank as well and get rid of this area A, B, and C nonsense?
Yes, because the A, B, and C are products of the Oslo agreements. And since
Yes,
the Oslo
exactly.
agreements will be replaced by something totally different, all the ramifications of these agreements like this, these things are definitely have to be changed. And at the end of the day, we'll have Dubai in each and every one of the 7 cities in Judea and Samaria, rather than have the Gaza. And the president and the minister Nir Barkat actually spoke about this in the Jerusalem Post conference in New York.
What did he say?
That we are having negotiations with local clans to declare statehood and to join the Abraham Accords.
Declare statehood in terms of what? I'm saying they're going to be part of Israel, or they're going to have their own state?
They will have their own, starting with autonomy, and might come to a full sovereignty.
So it's going to be called a Palestine? What are they going to call it? Palestine? What are they going to call it?
It will be called Nablus or Jericho, or each and every in each and every city they will have their own government, or
Oh, okay.
Hebron.
So each city will have its own sovereignty, but it's not going to be one actual.
Right.
Okay, but we're
No,
not creating a two-state solution, are we?
they can create some kind of a federation as
A
long as they
federation,
don't
okay.
have,
But it's
as long
still
as they
under
don't
the
have,
rule, but effectively it's still under IDF military rule, correct?
at least for a while. And the matter of full independence will be discussed like a year or 2 years after we see what happens in these Emirates.
Interesting. Okay. Okay, because the West Bank has to be figured out too. Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
So this is something which I hope within days, maybe weeks, we will be able to celebrate the uh, beginning of 1 or 2 or 3, I don't know, Emirates in Judea and Samaria.
Right. You think that'll actually create the change that we need to stop the constant violence?
No doubt it will be much better compared to the current situation. No doubt.
Well, I hope that works. I hope that works. But it's pretty clear. It's pretty
Yeah.
clear that Jewish strength and Jewish decisiveness, Israeli decisiveness, instead of dancing around the issue for the past 77 plus years,
No doubt.
it's
No
you
doubt.
know it's a very challenging decision that's being made now in all in Gaza and the West Bank in general. It's bringing a lot of international condemnation, but
You're
nonetheless.
definitely right. You're definitely right. And let's hope that this will be the future.
But I think it's a necessary necessary isn't even the right word. I think it's a required obstacle. The condemnation is expected. The world is going to condemn it because they either don't want Israel to exist or they can't bear to see dead people. At the end of the day, if we don't see the end of this war and we don't complete our objectives in the West Bank and Gaza, we'll be right back at square one again prior to October 7th. We'll
No
have
doubt.
rockets in no time.
Then this is why we are working on it. And let's hope that it comes to fruition.
Right. Okay. God willing. From our mouth to God's ears. Okay.
Yeah.
Doc, I think we had quite a good episode. We covered a lot of ground. Is there anything else you wanted to mention?
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Okay. Ladies and gents, thank you for watching till the end of this episode. Much appreciated. Make sure, of course, as always, to subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button. Go ahead. Give it a subscribe. Hit the like button as well. Leave your comments. And of course, real estate, get in touch with me. You can follow Dr. Mordechai Kedar on YouTube. You can also follow him. You're on Instagram as well. I know maybe you're not so active on Instagram, but I know you have one.
I'm not personally active, but I know that there are people who are uploading my
Stuff for you.
stuff on Instagram as well.
Right. So you can, if you do your research, you can easily find him. And
YouTube is the best.
Yes, I know. YouTube is definitely the best for your content. Thanks again, guys. I hope to see you. I hope you'll join with your ears on the next episode, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.
Bye, Rafi.
Okay, you can still hold